As Tennessee Williams once said, when so many are lonely as seem to be lonely, it would be inexcusably selfish to be lonely alone. Anne, Blanche, and Marilyn are all isolated from the people that they're closest to, and this formulates their prominent collapse. Their loneliness generates their anger, their immoral acts, and their lust to be wanted, evidently causing their significant downfall. Now, each character is overcome with a lot of anger from being cut off from the ones that they love. Blanche, in the play A Streetcar Named Desire, gets abandoned by Stella in Belle Reve, and she's very upset with this because she was never there for her during some of her worst times, like when her husband died and their parents died. Stella was not there for her, and she lets out her anger at Stella because she was never there when she needed her to be there. Blanche explains to her that Belle Reve is lost, everything is gone, it's terrible, and then Stella asks her, what happened, what's wrong with Belle Reve, and Blanche comes back and said, how do you have the audacity to ask me this when you weren't there, when you were too busy sleeping with your Polak? And she was really upset, and she really expresses her anger out to Stella and actually makes her cry. But her upset makes so much, her emotions just take over, and she expresses all of her anger out on Stella because she cut her off, and she just abandoned her basically, and never, saw her until Blanche came to see her. And in the short story, The Painted Door, John is about to leave, and Anne is getting quite upset with John leaving all the time, going to see his dad who is sick, and she's getting all lonely, and she's quite upset with this. She expresses her pain to him and how she gets really upset all the time because she's all alone. She gets so bored. He tries to help by saying that they'll bring in Steve and they can play some cards and we can try to interact with some more people. But all she really wants is John to be there. She wants to feel the compassion that John is not giving her. And she gets really upset and she kind of expresses, you aren't here for me. I'm staying here all alone painting pictures and you're just not with me and I want you to be with me. And she just gets a little bit angry, not as angry as Blanche, but she expresses a lot of her emotions to him and she tries to open up as best she can. And John kind of pushes her aside and she continues to be lonely and feel so lonely when she's really not. Marilyn, in the article, is doing an interview, and she expresses her pain to the world about how everyone should feel like they're together because she never felt like she was with anyone or she never felt like she belonged somewhere. And she expresses her pain with how there's so many difference between racism and religion. Everyone is so apart, and she wants everyone to be together. And she expresses how she wants them all here, and she wants how we should all be brothers, how we should all be together as one, and she doesn't want to be treated as a joke, and she wants everyone to be treated as equals. And she explains how much she doesn't like not being very intelligent, how she doesn't how she likes to be noticed as a joke. She doesn't want to be someone that just does movies and looks pretty in each movie. Each character in each movie kind of makes a poor choice or immoral act in each scene. Blanche kisses the young man before Mitch shows up at their date, and she kind of doesn't think this through. She just does it because she doesn't have anyone there to tell her, this is wrong, this is right. She just does it because no one's there to help her, and she makes these bad decisions because she's so lonely, and she makes these wrong choices. For instance, being kind of sleeping with a young man in the Flamingo Hotel and all that. She just doesn't think before acting because no one's there to help her and tell her this. Anne, in the short story, slept with one of John's friends, Steve, and she makes this immoral act because she's so lonely and she feels so alone because John isn't there to give her the love that she wants. So what she does is, Steve gives her the compassion that she really wants, and she mentally collapses and gives into the idea of the compassion of John's friend Steve. And she obviously feels guilty for this, but she also really wants the compassion, and she expresses how she never really wanted to do this, but she feels guilty, but she really wants to feel like she belongs somewhere. Marilyn makes a poor decision of marrying Miller, Arthur Miller, who is a person who leaves someone for a younger woman. he will not always stick with them because he wants the younger woman, and she makes this poor decision because, again, no one is there to help her. No one is there to tell her, don't marry this man because he won't, stay with you. He'll go for another woman, a younger woman, when you get much older. He won't be with you. But she makes this poor decision because no one's there, and she doesn't have very many friends. She doesn't have a real family. And it's stated that, if someone was actually there to help her, that she might have made the right decisions instead of, overdosing on those drugs. Every character really strives to be loved, and they really search for the belonging and the love that they really need. Blanche ends up going insane because of this, because she doesn't get the love and the affection that she really wants. She gets rejected by everyone, including Mitch. She was originally rejected by Stanley right away, and she even gets rejected by Stella in the end, which drives her insane because she has no one to, go to, no one to talk to, because everyone is pushing her aside, and she is standing in the middle, cut off from society. And this is what drives her insane, why she has to trust, and why she says she relies on the trust of strangers. And it's sad because she has no one to be there for her, no one to tell her, do this, do that, or here's a good idea, don't make these bad decisions. And in the short story, she really wants the love and affection, and it's the reason why John died, because he caught Anne in the act, because she wants that love. And she drives herself insane because she mentally makes this mental breakdown, and she sleeps with John's friend, and she causes his death. If she hadn't slept with him, he probably would have survived and life would have went on. But she makes this bad decision because she didn't have the love, the belonging that she wanted. Marilyn has had a really rough childhood. She had a foster family who sexually abused her, and she never really had any friends, and she really wanted the belonging, to feel like she belonged somewhere bigger than herself. She wanted the love of someone else, and she didn't really have that, and she expressed it a lot of times in her interview. She also said it to Gloria sometimes in acting stuff, and she really was upset with what she had, and she was not happy, and she wanted to feel like she actually belonged somewhere other than her acting or her actors and actress friends. She wanted to feel like she was a part of something bigger than herself. In conclusion, both Anne, Blanche, and Marilyn were all isolated from and cut off from the rest of the world, that they were unable to make the right decisions, and they got really angry at times, and they were made they couldn't get the lust that they wanted, or the love that they wanted, and they were unable to make these good decisions. In the end, they all made a terrible decision. They caused a lot of problems, and they really ended up collapsing at the end of each story because of their loneliness, and because no one was actually there to help them, figure out the right way and choose the right path for each choice.